By the way, another figure in your career that obviously you also spent a number of years with was obviously vesslan. So I want to ask about this guy. Like, if there's another person, if people don't know, I always used to say, like you explained about Nip, like Nip was running more simple tactics. Like vesslan was actually someone who early on understood that like this is going to become like a sport. Like we are going to have like a big playbook, and you want to know, like you want to study the other guy's demo. He kind of got that side of the game, right?
Yeah, I was very lucky. I mean, I had a very good mentors. vesslan was one of them. He had a complex way of understanding the game, and he was just like very into the tactical aspect of it, and not just tactical aspect in the game, but he was just the way he was leading the team. He was trying to be more professional than most others were back then. And so I picked up a lot of things when I was playing with him, and he's a very cool guy. I also stayed a summer with his team and staying at his place, and so I got to know him as a person. So he became quite a close friend with me after we quit.
Right.
So he started with some projects, whatever, in esports, and so I remember we had a lot of discussions, and yeah, he's a cool guy. I really enjoyed being. He was more my type of guy. Yeah,
right.
Because that was the problem with the same with Element. I mean, if he stayed with SK, he would have won maybe for 3-4 years.
Yes.
Like every tournament. I could have stayed with Nip as well and be a part of that team. But to be honest, I wasn't like I had to stay with these guys, because we weren't like, you know, the person. I didn't enjoy spending 2 months.
It was more just like a group of good players, right? Instead of like best mates and all that shit, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. By the way, one thing I want to ask about vesslan, because I think this is like a unique aspect to his personality, is back in the day, the other thing was, if someone did have a huge name and profile, like Heaton or Potty, dude, you could also just see at the LAN, like half the teams playing, those guys were like, they're going to beat us. Like, they just knew in their mind. But one thing I always thought was cool about vesslan was, even though he was wrong, and most of the times they were the better team and beat his team, dude, if people don't know, he wasn't acting. Like, he really did believe, like, if you put in enough work and you get the right tactic, he believed he could beat these guys. I always thought that was cool, because, like, everyone else, like, everyone treated him like they were gods. This guy, he actually really believed if he gave the right speech and the right boot camp, we could do it. We could beat him this time and win the championship, right?
Yeah, he had good self-belief, but to be honest, there was a big difference in skill between vesslan and Potty and Heaton.
Sure.
But they had a rivalry there. But it was funny. It was one event, especially, it was like this French click arena or something. And he came there with his team, and we came with our Norwegian team, and SK was there with Potty and Heaton.
Yes.
And so what happened was that we beat SK, right, very easily, because I knew their tactics very well, and all of our tactics were based on beating SK, basically.
All right, sure.
But then we met vesslan's team, and we lost to them. And then we went back down to the lower bracket, and we beat SK, and then we lost to vesslan's team again in the finals. So, but if the opposite had happened, then we would have won. It was like this triangle where SK, Potty and Heaton were better than vesslan's team. But we could beat Potty and Heaton. But we couldn't beat vesslan.
Yes.
They weren't that good either, but I don't know what happened. It was just finals were playing at 4 at night or something.
It was something crazy like that,
It was crazy.
Yes.
But it was just funny. But yeah, I mean, I guess he just believed that with hard work and effort that you could like overcome certain limitations on your own. But I'm not saying that vesslan was a bad player, but I'm just saying that he was more of a leader than like playing.
No. By the way, just if someone's a casual fan, it's not a diss at all that XeqtR says he's not as skilled as Heaton and Potty. That's like saying a player. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, if people know in football, like fucking Modric is an amazing player. He won Player of the Year, but he's not fucking Messi. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a diss to Modric. No, he'd even tell you he's not Messi. You know, like.
It's a good analogy. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's what I mean. But I don't think he thought about it like that.
Right.
But that's what you're saying, right? That I think he knew, but that with the right leadership,
you just had a great mentality.
The right mentality, you could still overcome it. I guess, yeah.
Yes. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.